Right. The next thing I want to talk about is a tweet that someone shared with me on Facebook. I'm not sure if we can do that because they cross over and stuff, but it was a screenshot of a tweet. I really, really liked it, and I wanted to share it with you. And I actually think it still speaks to some of the things that we've been talking about. So we've been talking about the resistance, right? The resistance. What does it mean to what does it mean to be the resistance? Instead of teaching kids to respect flags, symbols, and anthems, let's teach them to respect justice, tolerance, diversity, humanity. I would include other things like mercy and gentleness. I would include those fruits of the Spirit that we see in some of Paul's writings. But it's a real good start, right? It's a real good start because we do seem to place an inordinate amount of respect and admiration on things, and in some ways, those things can actually, I guess, become our idols. Do you remember years ago when Colin Kaepernick knelt during the national anthem? People were up in arms over it. How could he be so disrespectful to this thing? I remember, again, years and years and years ago, long before my time, but I remember talking to my grandparents about it, my grandfathers especially. The Canadian flag that which, the two red bars on either end and the red maple leaf in the middle on a field of white, that hasn't always been our flag. And that's only been our flag since I think the 1960s. Maybe somebody could look that up for me. It's only been like our flag for since the late 50s, 60s, something like that. The one my grandfathers went to war under was a very different flag. And when they changed it, a lot of our veterans were very, very upset because they changed this symbol. They had deep regard for this symbol. They had lots of emotional attachment to this symbol. And while I can understand all of that, and I can understand our love for these things, they are things. They are things. And those things are only as good as the thing that they are a symbol of, right? And what I mean by that is, if I teach my kids to respect the flag, like to really be devoted to the flag, and if I teach the kids to be really devoted to nationalism, really devoted to our nation, and if I teach my kids to be really devoted to our national anthem, yes, we should respect. We should have a sense of decorum about us. But if I'm teaching them to hold these things up as incredibly important, then it doesn't matter if the thing those things represent is good or not. But if I teach them to respect, to really give themselves to justice and tolerance and diversity and humanity, if I really teach my kids to give themselves, to practice, to be students of, to be practitioners of kindness and gentleness and mercy and compassion and love and forgiveness, then what I'm actually doing is I'm teaching my kids to respect the building blocks of a great nation, of a great society, of a great culture. And that flag that we want them to be respectful of is now a symbol of something truly, truly, truly great. You see what I mean by this? I'm making the first things first. I'm putting the first things first. You can have all the respect in the world for a flag, but if that flag represents a country that is not compassionate and not loving and not just and is filled with hate and is intolerant, then who cares about the flag? The flag represents something that's broken. And as beautiful and as ornate and as much respect as you may have for it, it doesn't change the fact that the nation it represents, the society, the culture, the community it represents is inherently broken. It's pointless. No, I want to teach my kids to respect and honor those things that will make the nation great. Justice makes a nation great. Tolerance, diversity, humanity make a nation great. Love and kindness makes a nation great. Mercy makes a nation great. Let them love the flag because they love the greatness of the country they live in. Let them love the flag because they love the country they're building. And the country they're building is a great thing. Focusing on those things that the author asks us to focus on means that we're creating a great nation. We're not counting on a great nation of the past. We're not respecting, holding up, putting all of our faith in a great nation that was. Instead, we've taught them to love and honor and respect the things that they need in order to make a great nation of the future. So again, we look at, if you tie this all into, how do we resist? Teach our children to love the things that will make the country great. Teach our children to love the things that will make our society great. We don't have to be within a tyranny. We don't have to be within authoritarianism. We don't have to be living within a dictatorship. We can resist right now by teaching our kids to love the foundational building blocks of what makes a truly great place, a truly great community. If we do that, as the future unfolds, as they grow older, I know somebody earlier said something about their grandchildren. They weep for their grandchildren. If we teach your grandchildren to love justice and mercy and humanity and tolerance and diversity, then we give them everything they need to bring about that society. We give them everything they need. We give them the recipe for a truly wonderful society. And that is the resistance to tyranny. That is the resistance to authoritarianism. That is the resistance to a dictatorship. You leave no room. You leave zero room for a tyrant. No foothold for a tyrant to catch hold of. In a nation whose people have been taught to love justice and diversity and inclusion and humanity. There's no room for a tyrant there. Amen.